Hello everyone, welcome to the tutorial. Today we will be coloring in a very nice coloring book, volume 2, Frolicsome Fall with the House Mouse. I intend to do several pictures in here. I love this book and completing this book. So if you do end up with this book, it'll be an ongoing project in this membership. So I have for you today the palette I've chosen. It's only one side today. It'll be photographed and attached at the bottom of the Patreon comments as a JPEG. You can get all your pencils out ahead of time, put everything in a basket like I tend to do, so you can grab them as you need. All you need otherwise is a little brush for rubbing away crumbs, a good pencil sharpener. This is my Doll 133, but you can use whatever it is that you use, and of course the book and the Starjoy Gold pencils, which I believe are the 120 set. These are a budget pencil, but they're very good. They blend nicely. This paper is a little bit higher paper weight, a little bit glossier than regular Amazon paper. So we'll see how they work in here. And this will be a pretty simple picture. We're going to do the mice and the apples. So let's get started. Happy harvesters. Let's push this down. I'm not sure if we'll use the blending stick today. I always recommend for most of my videos having the Color or Prismacolor blending stick nearby. Since this paper is a little different, we may not need that with the Starjoy Gold pencils, but we will see. So I've labeled this upper right, upper left, lower right, lower left apple in the palette. And each apple will have a couple of colors. As you know, apples can be different colors and all kinds of patterns. We're going to try to put in some, different spots and whatnot. We're going to start with the apple in the upper. Let's start in the apple on the lower left, which is down here with this little guy pushing it. Isn't that cute? And we have Georgia Peach, Easter Grass, and Lemon Chartreuse. That main color of the apple will be the Georgia Peach. And we're just going to weave in a little bit of these greens, these colors and whatnot. So this will be more like a gala apple. So I have my 3 colors here. Have everything sharpened before we start. I will try to keep the color card out for you. And occasionally if I add a color, to the palette or something mid-project, I don't have a card, so I'll just tell you what it is. But we're going to get started, and what we're going to do is we're going to kind of put in the red, obviously more wherever there are shadows, a little heavier, kind of in some different woven areas, and then we're going to get in some of those greens to be kind of like spots, maybe more here where you see more white right here, or when it's a little bit lighter. So let's go ahead and lightly start coloring in this apple, and I'm going to use a medium pressure, and we're going to go onto the inside along these shadows here, but come out, about 1/4 inch or whatever that is, just to where the leaves kind of end. What's up, buddy? There's a kitty here between little guy's hands. My cat's here bugging me. I'm going to put it in, and sometimes we'll do more than one layer. We'll do the first and then the second where we darken things after we get all the other colors in. And I'm going to go up this way just a little, and I'm going to get up here. I'm not going to see this area that looks like there's no spots. It's still kind of a circle. We're going to put more of those greens there. So we're going to kind of go, we're going to stop right about there, a bit more thin right there. I'm going to have to let him out. He's trying to get out of here. Leo, you just wanted in. Go. Go. Cats. Okay. So then what we're going to do is We're gonna kind of lightly shade in. We're gonna just, I'm holding my pencil to the side and kind of light. I'm gonna kind of bring some of this out a little more, away from the shadow area. And I'm gonna kind of just like, I might put some green down here actually. I'm gonna just kind of go across like this and get it in a little like, so I'm gonna kind of cut down but leave some white above it. So we can kind of get some, those greens in a non-specific pattern. So then you want to get, eventually it's going to be a little darker around the base here, but I always start the first round light so we can overlap the colors. I'm going to just kind of stop this circle here and do a little bit lighter where it kind of ends. So really that's all you need to get your first round in. Go ahead and go to your Easter grass color. And I'm going to start getting that in here. I'm going to kind of do, and I'm going to do this like half of this area in the green and not a specific pattern. Just leave some white, just kind of move it around. So, you know, there's no specific pattern on apples, right? They're natural, where you have the spotting and the different colors. So I'm just going to kind of do like that, and then we'll put that Chartreuse in there. Let's do a little bit down here. Maybe leave some white here, and you can go into the red a little bit. That's fine. I'll do entirely all green up here. So we're just kind of getting a little of this color. Let's go then to the lemon Chartreuse and put that over and into with the other color. So it'll, especially in the white spot you missed, it's got a little more yellow in it, you can tell. And then we're going to kind of weave around, maybe a little bit into that red. I'm going to go a little bit up here, a little bit down. There's like a stripe on mine right there. That's going to kind of be our apple, green apple spot on our gala. And I do extend this out a little around it. Might put in a little yellow, you know, so it'll, when we blend it, it'll look maybe a little orange in some areas. So I might put a little like right here, the Chartreuse. Okay, now let's go back. We have to start again with the Georgia Peach, and we repeat this. Now we start to darken where that light grayscale was with that flat area on our pencil. We're going to start going in a little firmer pressure. Not totally hard. We still might, I think we're still going to use our blender sticks. Honestly, I think it's going to give the best effect when we're blending apple colors. So darken it up right here at the border, and then lighten it as you come more toward the center, right? So darker here, and lighten it up a little. And it's naturally going to be a little darker because there's some pre-shading there. Okay. Around these little mouse fingers. These pencils, I can say, are working very nice in this book. Very nice, better than I anticipated. I'm picky about the budget pencils I buy and I recommend for my classes. This one, Soucolor, Castle Art School, but they're a little more expensive, and Fila's are pretty good. I'd say these Star Joys and the Soucolors are the best though, and I use them the most. We're gonna come along right here. I'm gonna go medium pressure, not quite as dark, but I'm gonna shade another layer here in this center and kind of like a little bit overlapping this Chartreuse area, so it kind of looks natural. So you do need to build a little bit of layers. This pencil isn't quite as crumbly waxy like the Soucolor and Prismacolor. They're kind of like an oil wax base. They're not as hard as like all other oil pencils, but they're definitely harder than Prismacolor and Soucolor. So you have to build your layers a little more slowly. A little more darker down here. So it creates more of like a shadow. I'm just going to run over this grayscales again, right there, so you see that. Okay. So then I'm going to touch in again the Easter grass. Just a little bit. I think we went over this one, and then a little bit into here. Kind of over, mostly I want to only overlap with the yellow, the Chartreuse. So put this into here. Okay. Let's do the lemon Chartreuse. I want to go ahead and blend this in, but go a little bit around. So touch a little more into the red than we did before. It'll give, not everywhere, just in some spots again. You can almost see it turning it a little bit orange in those spots. So when we blend this, it's going to give a nice gala red to orange to green. So I'm kind of going around like a halo around that green and yellow spot with this yellow. Okay. And that's going to give it a nice blend. Okay. Really, that's all we need to do. Everyone's is going to look a little bit different. We are going to use the Color blender. First thing you do is sharpen it. You don't need a super sharp point. Most important is to make sure you don't have any colors on the tip from a previous picture, especially because we always start with the light area first. You can pick it off with your nail if you see any color. Sharpen sometimes gets that off, sometimes not. This is almost like a chalky thing. And we always start with the light area first. And I do short little squiggles. It'll make my camera on my table shake. And we're blending the lemon and Chartreuse together. And we're going to do that here. And we'll do that right here. So then what we do is we start working that orange yellowish halo around it. We're going to start blending into the red. And what this is going to do, now this isn't, you know, the best paper. The regular Amazon paper actually works better for blending. But what this is going to do is fill in all that little white tooth you see left on the paper. This is kind of like a burnishing almost, and the pressure and the little chalky stuff that helps blend this matte presses down what's left of the paper, that tooth, so you get a nice flat look. And you don't have to do this hard burnishing pressure thing with your actual pencil, the lightest color, to use as for that feature, because that would use up a lot more of the pigment and you'd have to sharpen multiple times. So the blender does that work for you. But this really like softens things. So we're running it around the edge of that spot. See, we did that halo. So now it kind of looks like that yellow is kind of fading into the red, like it's more natural, not like a distinct, obvious color change. It kind of gradually transitions into it. This one looks more like a little stripe, kind of. Everyone's will look a little different. So just keep blending it until you don't see any more white tooth on the page, till the whole thing looks kind of matte and nicely blended out. And some of it will look a little bit rust color when we had that yellow and red together. So it'll be a little darker than we put down that Georgia peach by itself. This is where you use your brush to brush crumbs off. Don't use your hand or you'll smear it right across the red. I'm going to get down here. I see some tooth showing. Okay. All right. So that looks great. It's a really pretty apple. I like it. The style of art with these little black dots all over, it's just the look. You can't fully go beyond that, but this blending does help with that a little bit. And you can't put a lot of color back in once you've done the blender stick because of the the blending material it leaves on there, but you can sometimes get a little in. Like I'm going to take that Georgia Peach. Like you can feel it's not accepting much on the paper, but you can get on like a little if you wanted to redarken in a few spots. To really do it kind of hard. Like, so it's basically, this is like sitting now on top of that blending material or substance, whatever it is. There. Nice apple. Really sweet and very simple. Yeah, and you could take like the green there, put that back in or whatever. So I think we're done with that apple, real easy. We can move on now to the apple on the upper right is just two reds. I have red wine and barbecue. This is going to be like a dark red apple, like a old-fashioned red apple, the really dark ones. Barbecue. And, you know, I love the names of Starjoy. Barbecue, grasshopper, strawberry, Georgia peach, carrot. They really do look accurate when you look at the color name, like carrot and whatnot. So anyway, the darker of these two is the barbecue. So that's going to be more the darker shading area. So we'll start with the barbecue. And make sure my camera's still showing. Okay, so what we'll do, same thing. We're going to do the dark, maybe half the apple, or not even that, a third. There's almost like a bite taken out of this one. I just realized, which I did not plan any colors for, so I'm gonna have to go back and deal with that. But let's go around that with this, squiggle this in, that little jagged bite. All right, so then we're gonna follow the grayscale area here all the way down, shade this apple. We're gonna do both sides. The next picture I'm working on will be in the new Teresa Goodbridge Gnome for the Holidays book. I'll be doing the Halloween Witches with the Cauldron. The Witch Gnomes. They're really cute. And then next month, I'll do two like autumn pictures. I just really wanted to do that one first, even though it's the end of September now. Don't know why. That was just so cute to me. All right. And I'm going to lighten up my pressure as I come away from this darker ring, right? So I'm lighten my pressure as I come out and blend into what's already there and come out, because we want to lighten it so that it's a nice transition into the next red, which is a little lighter. I mean, it's more of a bright red than a dark barbecue sauce red, apparently. Barbecue sauce. All right. And sometimes you can make like a highlight. I'll show you. I'll see if we can do that. It's not really necessary, but all right. Leave a big kind of circle there so we can get in that red wine. Red. If we were to draw in, I just love dark red apples, like a shine spot. That we'd put in white. We're going to go around that foreseeably and just see how that turns out. We can always fill it in after. So I'm going to go around this. So I'm blending where this other red ended, soft to medium pressure, and bringing it upward and closing in that white area. I'm kind of using the slow little squiggles so we don't get too many pencil streaks or lines, and I'm keeping it a lighter pressure for this first layer. Yeah, so we can put in here some white, if you want to pull your white, which will look, kind of looks like a worm, but it'll look more like a highlight. So we'll go over this again and darken it up a little. all in this area. And then we want to go back to the barbecue because we got that red in. We need to kind of overlap it a little. We got to put in our second layer around the bite. I didn't notice a lot of white to cream, like color that would be appropriate for an apple, inside an apple in this Star Joy set. So that'll be a little bit tricky. Anyway, we're going to go around. I'll have to go back and look at my color palette. Swatch, I mean. Darkening all this up. I'm going to bring this darker one down into the lighter red that we just put in. So it kind of all is seamless in this transition here. Okay, and then go back again to the red wine. If you missed anything on the edge, feel free to just put that red wine in there. That's fine too. I'm gonna fill in some more of this here. Don't go over that white area. Fill it around it. So, and I'm overlapping where the other red ends. I'm just kind of going all over now into everything, filling more into that tooth. The tooth should be disappearing more and more. You can see both colors now. Okay, so really what we need is our white. Which is, I'm going to actually use my Prismacolor white because my Star Joy Gold set is in the other room. So Prismas work fine, obviously. You want it to be sharp enough to get into that middle. And I'm just going to get right into that middle, and it's going to look like it overlaps a little, which is fine. It'll leave a little bit of a glow there. You can even have it go a little bit over. It gives it more like a highlight spot and get a little red there. Okay. Now it's time to blend. With your blender stick, you're going to want to pick off, well, you can pick it off anyway, that yellow from the last apple. If it's going to be very flat now on the end, you get to where you touch your finger, it's not sharp. That's good because the flat actually blends better. So I'm going to go around the white area. Try not to blend over that white area once you're doing the red, or it's going to bring red right over it. I'm going to do the center first because that's the lighter part of the apple. Little shaking beats, little circles. No, you don't do long strokes like a paintbrush. You're just, you got to get some elbow grease going and just get in there. Then you can start going into the darker, because once you've gotten some of this blender stuff on the center, it won't matter if you go over it a little bit with the darker because you can't get a lot of color on top of the blending material that's on this stick. See, that looks nice. Now you can see the ring, like the shadow of the darker one. That's why we do the 2 layers. Got a little bit of white there right next to that kind of highlight, so I'm just going to go a little bit around it. Sometimes you can make that highlight like a little spot. It's more like that apple shine, like the light's hitting. You can, and if you didn't end up liking it, just go back over it with the red. But I usually, you can make it like a dot or a circle. You can make that little highlight, the light hitting there any way you want. That's just how I like to do it. Make sure all that tooth is filled up. Don't see anything else. I got a little on the edge showing here. Yeah, I can say these pencils work quite lovely in this book. Let me catch it right there. Okay, so we're done with that apple. Next, we can move on to the lower right apple. The lower right apple, apple lower right. Strawberry, grasshopper, and egg yolk. Grasshopper, strawberry, and egg yolk. Okay. Oh, that's chili. That's Georgia peach. Where's my strawberry? There it is. Strawberry, egg yolk, and grasshopper. So we're going to obviously start with the strawberry because it's the darker color of the two. These colors are similar to this apple, but strawberry has more of a peach tint, less red. The green's a little darker. I actually was considering doing this more, well, I'm actually thinking of doing this one more of a green apple. This is grasshopper is that green apple color, like the Granny Smith, and putting in the red and yellow spots. So actually I do want to start with the strawberry because I want to draw in the line for where we're going to put the red areas. And I don't think we need an area quite this big, but it will kind of fade out. So we'll put in, you know, this where this white circle is here, where that highlight is, we're going to kind of put in softly. I'm going to draw around it. Kind of like that. Okay, and then maybe we could do the yellow one. We'll do maybe a little, just in kind of like I'm going to do that one like over here. So it'll be up in this area here, up here. And then I'm going to draw just kind of little weird, any kind of pattern would work. It's going to be right on in there. And we'll color that in later. So then we go back to the grasshopper. Now let's start doing our green apple. So we're going to do yellow from here up to the corner. So we're going to start right down here. So this is our green. This is a good green apple color, I think. And we're going to kind of go under that yellow line and around this strawberry line. This is not a color of a strawberry. I've yet to see a colored pencil called strawberry that ever looks the color of a strawberry. Maybe the inside, but certainly not the outside. Okay, we're going to get up along this side. We'll follow this kind of yellow. I put in right here. Then between the two, which is kind of like right here. A little bit up here above that circle we made of the mouse's head. I'm just gonna do the first medium layer just to get the basis of where the green will be. Okay, now let's go to the egg yolk. I guess that's close to an egg yolk color. Not exactly, but let's fill this in. Upper left a spot on the corner here. And I had one down here. Okay, and then let's put in the strawberry. I'm going to fill this in by, I might put a little yellow in the center of it even. I'm going to fill it in, like round it in like this, close it in slowly. I'm actually going to take my yellow, I'm going to section off here, put a little bit in right there. So we got kind of like a color combo going on, making these unnatural apple patterns. So it's kind of like right in there. There's some yellow too. Okay. All right, so the next would be to get the grasshopper again. We need to darken up the shadows. We need to go down here, darken this up. So with a little bit of a harder pressure and just kind of get in there. Let's go along this side too, because there is that darker grayscale, which is meant to be like shadow. We're going to do it much darker. We'll do dark at the top here. I'm going to actually do a little dark over the mouse's head too, to show kind of the shadow coming off from his head on the apple. Okay. So then I'm going to go medium pressure outward from that toward the center. I'm going to kind of just go along the edges of our colored spots. I'm just going to get in more pigment here. Okay, let's get between these two. Nice dark apple there. And I did put in a little green to touch a little bit over the yellow here and here. Okay, let's get the egg yolk again. Redarken this egg yolk up. Then I want to do it in the center, but I want to overlap a little into that strawberry, which will give a nice, you know, gradient color there. Now let's switch to the strawberry, and you want to put in the strawberry here. Does not look like just, I mean, maybe like a really under-ripened tomato is what it looks like to me, the color. And then I might just soften it around, and it's okay if we blend a little into that green, but there you go. Might just put in like a little on this yellow right here along the side. See that? Like on the one side. Maybe a little right here at the top corner. So it looks natural. Okay, now all we really have to do is blend. Now we don't want to get that dark red in there, so definitely pick off the color with your nail from the previous red apple. Give it a sharpen. That helps get some of it off. Okay. Let's do the yellow. Always do the light yellow, lightest colors first. I'm going to kind of blend here a little bit of this green and yellow and red all together. Now let's get this strawberry spot. And for the strawberry spot, I'm going to blend into the green around it, start joining the two colors, so it looks like a soft, natural change. And then let's get this. If you get a little of that strawberry into the green, that's okay, because it's kind of the part of the apple. If you ever looked at like some apples have like a gradient or like a tie-dye look to them, like the galas or the whatever. The galas would have a lot more yellow. This looks more like a jazz or a pink lady apple over on the left here. So I'm just getting all the areas now, and then I'm going to just go straight over the middle now that I've put the first layer of that blender material on. Interesting looking apple. Everybody's will be different, so that's completely normal. That's how I did this one. You could put in, try to get a little green back on if it looks like it's too faded. Not gonna have much luck, but you can get a little in there. As long as it looks natural. Touch a little bit of this in here, the egg yolk. Swirl it all together. All right, so we are done with that apple. Pokey little apple. And then we're going to do the upper left. That's lemon, chartreuse, and chili. Chili, where are you? And we did use the lemon chartreuse previously on this one. So this chili apple has more of like a corally color. But we'll do the similar thing we did here. Almost tempted to do the whole apple this green color. I have seen some apples that like green before. Yep, I think that's what I intended when I chose it, so we're going to do that. So we're going to draw in a few of the red spots. We'll do some red spots like up here by the Mr. Mouse. Put this chili in up here, this corner. Maybe a little bit up here. Just gonna put that in first, right up here. Just two little spots, and mostly we'll make it green. Could do like a little bit right here, maybe. Just right along there. Okay. So most of this we're just gonna put in this lemon chartreuse into the whole thing. This one looks more like those bright little green ones you see in the fall at the farm. They're really small little ones. They're really almost yellowish, and they're really small. What are they called? Goodness, I'm gonna have to think about that. So I'm just putting the color straight in firm because we're not doing many other colors, so I'm doing all my layers now at once, and I'm actually going to go right on over that chili, hard as I can. Over here too, right over that chili. Might take my chili and do a little bit more. I kind of feel like well, let's see what happens. I was going to actually add a teeny bit of grasshopper right along this shadow here. This is that grasshopper I still had out. I'm actually going to add this right around here, or a darker green around that grayscale area. I think that'll be better. Along that leaf. Okay, so now all we have to do is blend. Make sure you get all the red and orange off your blender stick. And I'm going to start blending. I am going to go over that chili and blend it with the yellow. Try to soften it up and make it a little more pale. All right, let's do that. So it looks more natural. There we go. That looks good. And it blended a little bit of the grasshopper in, not as much as down here when we did this, because it caught that stuff I put around the grayscale area, which is good. So it's not too neon. It doesn't look as a natural. So then you can take that lemon chartreuse again and touch up. Try to get a little color in there, not very easy. So these chili spots are very pale, they don't stand out quite as much So I think that looks a little better because I blended it in with the Chartreuse and with the blender stick. Okay. So that's it. That's all I really need to do for these apples here. You can, you know, if you end up liking one color, you can do them all the same if that's sort of your wish. That's the joy of it. We can work now on the grass blades. And I have for that Pickle and Lonnie Green. So, actually first I have out for the branch. Let's do this big branch first because I have the colors right here actually. And in this case we have Good Earth and Sepia. Good Earth, let's just darken this on the swatch just to see which is really the darker one. I think the Good Earth they're just a little different. Good Earth has a tint of brown in it. Yeah, so we're going to use the Good Earth first. We'll just do this first. Brush everything off. And so we're going to do the branch, I think. So we're not going to do this longer areas. We're going to use this. And I'm going to go and do basically like 1/3 of the branch, particularly over this darker grayscale area. So we're going to run it along just up the whole side where you're leaving all this white space here. So maybe it's going like it's like 1/3 of the branch. Okay, and then just follow the line. Then we'll go down here to this one, same thing. Keep it going same direction, follow the line. All right. Just put in a little bit lighter up here. We'll put in a little at the top, a little bit at the end. We're going to blend that other color in, you can imagine. Let's go right along the bottom of this branch. Over here, I'm right-handed, I'm gonna have to kind of go like this, but same thing, we're gonna follow the line of the branch over down this grayscale. This one, it'll be about half of the branch because it's getting a little more narrow over here. And if it's sharp enough, go ahead and try to get these right here. You'll want to use harder pressure for those little twigs at the end. Just the 3 sticking out, but leave a little white there. I'm going to blend in use the other color for some of this. All right. I'm going to touch in just a little bit, not much. Touch in a little bit, but not all the way. Okay, so let's do the sepia. And so for that, we will blend into the edge of where the other color stops and into the white space to finish the branch off. So, and I'm doing a lighter pressure, so you'll see a darker brown and a lighter brown. It's not overtly obvious, but like you can tell, there's a little bit of a dimension effect created. You know, branches aren't flat in color, they're going to be uniform, patterned and textured. I want to give a textured look here. All right. Okay. There we go. Let's do the same thing over here. We want to get this one in the middle. I'm gonna get these three here. 1, 2, 3. All right. Now I'm gonna get these ones up here. Goes a little bit into that leaf, and then we'll turn that into, it'll change into green. I don't think we need the blender stick, but if I see some tooth on the paper here, so if you're gonna have to take this lighter color and you're gonna have to go in for a second layer, and you're gonna have to use some pressure to and kind of burnish it together a little if you want to get rid of any of that white tooth. Make sure it's nice and rich and deep color. You did need to do layers, so I'm doing a little harder. You can see. I don't want to blend this area because it's so narrow. I don't want to blend it with the blender because it might go over into the sky. I want to be able to control where the color goes. Okay. Whew, so we got that branch done. I'm going to take my Good Earth, which is sharper, and still get these 3 little gut branches here. I'm going to get these 3 here because it's a little darker. It'll stand out a little more. Go around little Mr. Mouse's hands. Okay. Did I miss any branches? Just double check you didn't miss anything. I see a few areas here that are still a little too light. I see some tooth, so I'm going to use this color to touch it up. So it's darker, it'll make more of an impact. Okay. So that's all we really need now for those browns. Now we can do the grass, and that's Pickle and Lonnie Green. If I'm saying that right. Lori, not Lonnie. Lori Green. Yeah, that one really looks like a pickle on that swatch. It's really interesting. Let's give it a quick sharpen. I have to figure out what I'm going to do a little touch of a gelato or pan pastel into the background when we're done. All right, so I have those 2 colors. Make sure yours are nice and sharp. We will start with, I think we'll start with the pickle. I think the pickle's darker. Yeah. And you want it really pretty sharp. That's why I use my doll, because you want to get the base. We're going to do about half the blade with one green and the additional half transitioning upward with the other. So we only want to go about halfway. All right. And the other green's going to blend right into these. Still need to get some brown for the dirt, I realized. Get half of even these little blades. You still want to only do half, so just do it shorter. Go over here. Okay. Go to that Lori green. I don't know if that's like a bird Lori or what. Girl's name Lori. We're going to just color that right on in the blade. Blend it in where the other one ends and straight on up. You need very sharp pencils to keep within the lines of the grass blade. I do the most pointy ones first before your pencil loses some of its sharpness. All right, just working that on in there. Just double check each of your blades. Make sure there's no white spots you missed. It's nice and bold, and vibrant, rich green. You can run this lighter color over both colors. It'll show them both. There's one I missed, it seems. Almost done here. Okay. went a little over with that one. Just running that pencil over it. It looks good, nice and colorful. Nice rich greens. Keep seeing some of my mist, like my eye doesn't see it for some reason. I think I got them all now. Okay. Once you're sure you have them all, we can move on to the bigger leaves on the tree. And there's gonna be some pretty autumn color leaves. I need to grab a color to do a little bit of this dirt. And I don't think I picked a color for this plant. I'm not even sure what this is. So I will do that now and we will continue. Okay, I've added a few colors for our little plant for the dirt and 2 more colors for the mice that I think might be a little more suitable for the face and whatnot. And of course I forgot, but I think those might work for that bite in the apple as well. So first let's do this little plant. And so for the stalk of the plant, I have sienna brown. Sienna brown. And all we're gonna do is just color this in a single color. No blending needed, straight on down. Each stalk here. This is a beginner, more beginner friendly, not completely beginner if you don't know how to blend anything, but this is what I call easy coloring. So okay, that's all you need. For the little bulb thing itself, I want to do this midnight color because I want something that's kind of this navyish blue, a dark color to kind of pop against the maybe a brighter blue sunny day autumn sky. So we're gonna do midnight, and you're really sharp. Hold your paper down. Get the ones pointing onto the white space first, because you have to do each little thing individually. And I'm going to kind of go upward, make it a little more pointy, this bush. Do a little darker, some darker lines here or there. Kind of some squiggles. All right. Just kind of putting some lines in. Real simple. It's kind of blackish blue. That's a nice dark pop, which I think is a good touch. These leaves, I have green and spring leaf. Just straight up green and spring leaf. So you can see in the swatch, here are the 2 colors. I think the regular green is a little darker, so, well, you know, honestly, I think the spring leaf is darker. I just didn't do very hard in the swatch. So we're gonna actually do the spring leaf first. Well, I'm so torn. Ah. Oh man, I'm torn. Let's see. I need to test this out. Yeah, we're doing the spring leaf first. Spring leaf first. Okay. So basically all we're doing for these leaves, so we're going to color in the base about 1/2 of the bottom of the leaf, kind of like what we did with that grass blade. All the way down to the bottom and going up a little on all these leaves, even the one on the plant here. This is kind of a nice vibrant green, which is a nice contrast pop to that midnight blue plant. So we just did like the half plus up the spine of this leaf of each. Try to keep it real simple for you. And then we're just going to do the regular green and do the remainder of the leaf. So then I'm going to take the spring leaf again, just to darken it at the base a little more where we started this color. It's not a huge difference between the colors. A little bit you can see. This one has a little more yellow tint to it. These are nice vibrant greens, which is why I chose them. And then I'll touch the green in there one more time. You don't have to do this, but I like to, just to make my color so rich. All right. Okay, so we're done with that. That looks great. Super easy. So we're gonna work on our autumn leaves now. The leaves, we have burnt ochre, carrot. I put carrot orange, but I think it's just carrot. I think. I think I put that back by accident. Carrot. No, it's not. Oh yeah, it is carrot orange. So carrot orange, candlelight, and burnt sienna and burnt ochre are the colors we need here. Burnt sienna, pulling burnt ochre, okay. Got all the colors we need here. Need to sharpen too. Gonna do some, oh, and for the little apple stems on the two bottom apples, just use one of these two browns, probably not the Good Earth that you did on the branch, and just color those in. So for example, well, I'm going to take like this one actually I have called tree bark. We're going to do the tree bark for the dirt. So actually let's do that. I'm just going to put a little bit of this tree bark brown right into the stem here. think these ones have the stems up here. I feel like I want to add a little of this tree bark here, but I can't get any more color in. All right. Okay, hold on to that tree bark. All right, so for our autumn leaves, we're going to, if you look at our 4 colors, the darkest color is burnt sienna, followed by burnt ochre, the carrot, and then the candlelight. So, you know, autumn leaves are a whole host of colors. I'm going to try to do these kind of a mixture. We'll try one first that has all 4, starting with the burnt sienna. And that'll be on this bigger one here. And there's kind of a method I like to do. So what I like to do is just kind of weave it in. We're going to weave all these kind of colors in a non-specific pattern. So this one's the darkest, though we do want this here where there's this darker shading right here. A little bit maybe along the spine. I missed a branch there. So I'm just going to put like a little bit. We're just going to like put in some little patterns of it, you know. Let's actually do 2 at a time like this. Let's do this one way down here. I'm going to do this down here where it's a little darker on the spine. And I'm just going to put in like a little here, a little there. That's all you're really doing is just a few little colors. Move to the burnt ochre. And we're going to weave in, just weave in a little colors. It's okay to overlap the brown. Remember, we're going to get in 2 more colors. That'll kind of close this up. All right, we're just going to kind of scribbling in a little bit of color. That's all we're really doing here. Okay, and the carrot. Same thing, we're going to just kind of wiggle in some colors. We're going to overlap those browns. Get some around the edge, in the middle. Leave a little white space. We're going to get that yellow in. This is one method. This is what I call the quick method for blending autumn leaves. Okay, then we'll put in the candlelight. What we do with that is we just go basically over everything because it's the lightest color. And we do use the blender stick on this, so we go, I'm doing a medium to light pressure, not too hard. But I'm getting this over everything because it blends in nicely to browns and to orange and the ochre. Just make sure all the white's covered is really what you're doing, like the main white parts, not the tooth really. Okay. Then I go back to the darkest color, which was the burnt sienna. And I put a little bit back in on that darker area. Squiggle in a few more dark spots. Go back down that spine. Before we blend, we just get in a little bit more dark, building our color. Do the burnt ochre again. Few more touches of orange. And a little touch of the candlelight again. Got our layers in. Now let's blend them out. Now we haven't used the blender since it was a darker green or whatever color that might have been. So I'm gonna get everything off my end, give it a quick sharpen just to get any dark color off. You don't need it sharp, you actually want it more flat. Then we're just gonna start holding it straight with that kind of flat area. I'm just gonna start squiggling in and blending it. Blend around the edges. There we go. Let's blend this one. All right. That's really it. You can take a little bit of that candlelight. You can get a little more yellow in there if you'd like. Try to touch a few spots over. So when you look close, you see this gradient of all these different colors. It's kind of almost like splotchy and speckled, like a natural leaf, you know, like there's not a particular pattern or anything. I'm going to take the sienna and just see if I can get a little more dark in right back here on that spine. My shadow. So we can do these leaves in different colors. So maybe for this one up here, we'll do just the orange and the candlelight. So let's do that. Let's just do the carrot. I'm just gonna do this more like down the center or the side, which would be the center. There we go. Okay, put in the candlelight. Because not every leaf will be the same exact shading. Okay. Then I'm just going to pick off some of that brown off my blender and give that a quick blend out, mostly around the orange. Okay. All right. So not a huge difference, but you don't see some of the browns, but we could do one with just the two browns or the brown tones. We could do let's do the burnt sienna first. We'll get this one up here. We'll do that vein in that burnt sienna. Right along the middle. I'm gonna get kind of at the base right here of the fold. Then I'm going to kind of do this thing lighter where I'm coming out from the center. Let's follow the highlight, the hair. Kind of feel like I want to just squiggle in a little tad orange in here, right in the center, maybe right there. Okay. And then go to the burnt ochre. The burnt ochre is more red tone. Let's just color this in lightly. We do see a lot more this red color here. Okay, then I'm going to grab the sienna again and just darken this shadow before we blend it a little. It's a nice rich autumny color. Start blending this. We'll do the light area where that we put in that dab of orange first. It'll show better. I didn't want to put any red in here because we have reds in the apples. I want our eyes to be able to differentiate at quick glance the leaves from the apples. I'm just doing more of the brown and golden tone autumn leaves. All right, looks nice. We could do just the burnt sienna and the candlelight. So let's do that. Let's go over here and do the burnt sienna. I'm gonna go along the spine again. I'm gonna go along the base here. I'm gonna put in the candlelight. I'm gonna keep both cards up because I'm gonna go back and forth. Put in more yellow in this one, make it more all over yellow. Try to make this whole thing be yellow. All right, tap a bit more into there. And just that brown right there, right in that little corner. There you can blend. Great, and then touch that candlelight a little more, maybe right over that. I need variety. I'm going to do one leaf that's solid burnt ochre because it's a nice rich color. Let's do this one sticking out here, all in one color. Just going to put in a little lighter. All right, doing a little darker here, a little bit more, a lighter pressure, the rest of it. This gives it almost like a brick rust. It's like a rust color almost. Just don't want to blend it because it'll just make it, not that dark one on top, but I'm gonna do it right on the bottom just to make it look a little softer. I like that look. Let's do another all red one up here. Maybe this little one or more ochre one. I think we should also do a little one that's all burnt sienna as well. For this little one here. Okay. All burnt sienna. And let's take the, since the burnt sienna is the darkest and we have it on our hand, let's go ahead and put in some right here into this shadow of this leaf. Lightening it as you get more this way, like that. And then I'm going to put in the carrot on just this edge here. So it kind of stands on its own a little. Let's see. I think we should actually stick in the candlelight right here. But all the three colors are kind of in a separate area instead of kind of blended like we did on these ones, you know. So you can see the colors. I'm going to give that a very gentle blend on this one. Mostly in the middle. I don't want to bring all that brown into the orange, just a little here. All right, that's nice. I can see the differentiated sort of colors there. We could do a nice big one in yellow and orange here. So let's do this big one in carrot. I'm going to do carrot on the inside. It's darker, and then maybe right along here. I do think I should touch that up a little with the ochre, maybe right here. And just along this line, use the burnt ochre. Okay, so otherwise we're doing carrot. Let's do the candlelight. I'm not sure I agree this looks like candlelight, but looks like a golden sun, a sunny sunset to me. Especially when you pair it with the carrot. All right, I'll let our blender stick here. All we have to do is little mice in the dirt next. So right on in here. Right on in here. Okay, I think we can go, I want to do a leaf that's almost all orange. So I'm going to take the burnt sienna, just do kind of the inside shadowy area of this guy here. Maybe a little around the middle. Put in all that bright orange because it'll be a nice accent, and we get a little bit of that down here too, so it'll be a nice, put in this color. So you can see there's a lot of different ways to blend 4 colors and put in colors into leaves. Solid, blend 1, blend 2, blend 3, blend 4. Change up the ones you're blending, whatever. It's easy to get a little variety in here. Now we want to blend it out. Make them look like some pretty autumn leaves here. Just touch a little more in. Enliven it a little. We have only a couple left. I'm looking, I need one that's gonna be all candlelight, a little yellow. Let's put that one in over here. Let's do all the candlelight because we have a little one there. Get some all yellow leaf over here. These Star Joy gold pencils work beautifully, I can tell you that. That's a nice little one right there. Then we need a pop yellow over here too. So I'm going to put in a teeny bit of the burnt ochre in the vein of this one here. But then I'm going to do it entirely in the candlelight. Okay, I'll give that a little blend. Make it look nice. Oops, looks like this one probably tucks under this one. Goes all the way down there. All right. So all we have left, I do need to get a little touch of my brown tree bark because I missed a branch right here. Or you can use that good earth, whichever. I missed that branch. Did I miss another one over here? I don't think so. Oh yeah, well let's put this in this vein here. We're gonna do the burnt ochre down the vein on this one. Then I'm going to shade in some areas here. We'll weave in some colors into this one. Let's weave in the carrot. Just a little. And I'm going to touch in the candlelight. And we're going to blend that. Okay, just want to touch a little bit of that darkness right back in there. So I think I'll put, I'm going to grab a little orange. Just do whatever you want here, but I'm going to put a little of this orange here. I do half orange and half candlelight. That looks nice. I think I like that look. I'll do that again with the one next to it. Orange at the base. And finish it off with the candlelight. Okay, woo. That was quite a feat. But we are done with our autumn leaves, so we can put these colors off to the side. I do real quick wanted to do this dirt here, and for the dirt on the ground, I put that tree bark color. So, oh no, look, I missed a leaf. Oh my gosh, it's camouflage, that little bugger. All right, well, let me grab my burnt okra and my carrot and just put in a little color here. I did not see that one. Sneaky little guy. I could swear that thing just appeared. It looks nice and vibrant because I did the orange by itself. Carrot, I mean. So the Good Earth was too dark, so I'm using the tree bark color for the dirt. The dirt goes all the way up to under this mouse's feet down to here. So I'm going to have it very sharp, and I'm going to color kind of between the grass blades left to right. Ideally, we should have done this before I did the grass, but I did not think of that. So we're going to try not to get any on the grass. Easier over here. Go under this apple, under these leaves here. A little bit down, I think. I have to use the up and down method, vertical, to get in here. Just gonna bring it down, but lighten my pressure as I go down away, you know, from the foliage. So it kind of fades out. We're gonna make it kind of fade out. Lighten your pressure. Lighten your pressure. Just gonna lighten it coming out right here, very soft. Almost all the way down here. We'll just kind of have it come down the center a little. And lighten it up, coming down here, nice soft gradient. Darken it a little more around the grass and up here under their feet. So it looks like there's a line where that grass kind of starts. Go straight across. Okay. We're going to lighten it down again. Kind of going over this. I'm kind of bringing it down like this. I don't know how far we really need to go down. I mean, it's just like a hint of a vignette, sort of, this picture, so. Just lighten it up. So then I wanted to put a little white in here, maybe. Before we blend it, it's going to help it look more faded and everything. Okay. I still have that nice flat area on my blender, and we're just going to do that to kind of get rid of the pencil sketch look, right? Hold your paper. I'm going to kind of go across the top here. Pretty pale. We didn't put in very much pigment. I almost feel like we need a little bit more. Adding a little bit more before we blend. Wait. Okay. This is just going to be a little time consuming. I'm going to use a hard pressure here. Hold your paper. Any areas you missed. That white helps kind of soften up the dirt a little bit, I think. I'm gonna get all the way up here. Bring that right down to the words. Right under little Mr. Mouse. Might have got his feet a little, but that's all right. Yeah, and if you prefer, you can bring the brown all the way down and go straight across. I don't know. I kind of just wanted it to taper for some reason, but now that I'm looking at it, it's going to bug me. Da, 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 da. So I think I am going to just go ahead and add it, darn it. I'm going to add some more of that brown. The tree bark. Let's just bring it straight down. Why not? We'll bring it straight. We'll try to keep it uniformly even where it's going to stop here. put a little white. Okay. Sorry about the bouncing camera. Can't really avoid that. Gotta use some real elbow grease to get this done. But coloring muscles get in shape just like any other part of your body. All right, that's a little better. I think it's a good dirt surface. I mean, you know, it's a partial picture that it kind of has like the border on it. I think it'll be fine. We can take our dark if you want and darken things up where you see these little lines. Okay, so we're gonna move on to our little mice and then put in a little bit of a pan pastel or a little bit of a simple bluish and white background, I think. I might touch a little bit of this up my own time. I'm gonna add a little bit more brown in here. Can't get much more in though. That was my first instinct to leave it like that because that looked better. I'm torn. Okay. Well, anyway, gonna take a break and continue this in the morning, and we will finish our gorgeous picture. Okay, so we're gonna work on our mice. It's really the last we have here. For the mice, we have French Gray 4, French Gray 3, Tawny Flesh. I also added Palomino and Coffee. That's going to be more for the faces. Flesh is going to be the tail color. So I looked at a lot of pictures of mice, and of course there's all different kinds, but the majority of them had kind of a fleshy color tail. So let's go ahead and do these tails first. We'll do their tails in this flesh color. There's a train going by. Okay. This is a good skin tone to use too if you're doing people with Starjoy Gold. I think that's it, right? Yeah. Might need this again, so we'll keep this just in case. So that's good. Okay, so oh God, the train is so loud. That's with my windows closed and being several blocks away. So Palomino and Coffee. I want to do their faces first. So I have Coffee, Palomino. It looks nothing like Coffee. Palomino being the one that's a little darker. I want to use both of these. We'll use the Palomino first. I'm going to go into this little face and do more like around the nose area, just the front. And then I'm going to switch over to my Coffee and get that in, which I don't know why they say coffee unless it's like cream, cream in coffee. And then I'm kind of blending that over. So you see what I'm doing? So I'm going to color with the Palomino just across the nose, across the bottom. Then I'm going to switch to the coffee, go over it and up. Cuts down on the yellowness of it. It's the closest I could really do for like a beige for their faces. Let's do up here, we'll do the little nose area. And our mice today are gonna be mostly gray. I know you can do some mice that are brown. I'm gonna use a little bit of that tawny color for maybe an undercoating, but. Okay, we'll do a little bit just on the nose again with the Palomino, then switch to this coffee color. Stop being a pest. What are you doing? Stop. My cat's annoying me. Trying to get my attention whenever I'm on here. It has a teeny bit of a yellow tint, but that's okay because I feel like it's a nice complement to the yellow and all the leaves and the apples. Brings our color theme kind of together. No, not right now. Get down. He's being a pill. Oh, there's a little ladybug right there. We're gonna have to get, didn't see that on the branch before. Do I have a yellow, red? I have to grab a red pencil, my red Pitt pen and do that. Okay, so that's really all I needed to do right now for their little faces. So let's get our grays and our tawny out. Oh, actually I'm thinking that if we grab that coffee color with a little bit of white, I'm thinking we could do the inside of this apple bite. Let's just do this. I'm just gonna put in, you know, like a apple that's got a little air exposure, starts to turn a little brown. Just kind of squiggle in some of this coffee color. And then if you were to put in a little white in there, make it look like it was actually eating a little. Switching. Yeah, I just want to do that. I think that looks really well. Okay. So we have our two grays and our tawny color. The tawny looks a little mustard or more like a tan, but I'm not quite sure how I want to use that. It doesn't look like it so much in the actual pencil lid. So we'll start with French Gray 4. And I'm going to just kind of go along his backside where it's more gray, you know, the grayscale. Maybe under his neck here, along his arm, just around the whole bottom, his hair. Let's do this top part. And then I'm going to kind of like use my sharp tip to pull out those little pokies of his hair. And bring this gray down just a little. Same thing here. Do these little pokies on his hair. Put a little inside of his ear. All right, let's add the French Gray 3 and blend this in to that color. It's definitely lighter. It's a little more of a warm color. I'm going to do it all the way up to the cheek. I think I'm just going to do this one with all that gray. Let's see. I might use the tawny on their feet. I'm not sure yet. Let's get this color in. Okay. That's good. And if you take that tawny, you could even put in a little bit here in his center of his body, just squiggle in a little for a little bit of a brown. You know how mice can look a little grayish brown color? It's kind of real ugly. Unfortunately, grayish brown color. You can also go over his eyes, but I don't think that tawny's dark enough. I'll put a little pink into their ears. So I'm just going to squiggle in a little here. Then go back to the gray 4 to kind of do a few more of these hairs here. Put that shadow back in. All right. I'll get the French gray 3. Just squiggle a little bit more of that in. I might try to see what happens when I blend it a little. I'm actually going to take the white and put a little of that white on his cheek, just to kind of lighten up that coffee, what we did there. Put a little on the inside of his ear right here. A little bit right there above his arm fold. And I'm going to take that tawny. I'm going to actually do his feet. The tawny. How's that going to look? Some of their feet were kind of a tannish color when I looked up the pictures. We can always pull that coffee palomino over. I'm doing it fairly light. All right, now I'm going to take the blender stump. And see if I can blend his body with that tawny and that gray together just a little. See how it looks. Not really going around the outline, just the center of his body. There, that's a cute little guy. Okay, let's do this process for all of them. Today we'll just make them all the same. We'll keep it simple. So I'll take the dark gray and let's start outlining all their shadow, so they're darker grayscale spots. A little bit in the ear, and then on his hair he's got a lot of it, so I'm going to just kind of push my pencil up like I'm trying to make his hair spiky. Push it out, going this way too. Out, out, out. Pull your pencil, sharp little lines over that. I'll put like a little on his forehead right there. Let's leave him. Let's go over to this one. Let's do his head. Go around his back. Top of his head. Then we're going to do the hairs. Use the sharpest part of your pencil. Let's go around this way. All right, let's go put some on his cheek here. Let's go do this little guy's head. Darken it up down by his feet, his rump. Oh, I missed a leaf right there. Gosh, funny how your eye doesn't see something when you're looking at it even for 10 minutes. Go up his back, a little bit in his ear. I'm going to put some under his chin. His hairs are coming down a little. All right, let's go to the last one. This one's fat. I'm gonna do this. Go along his nose. This one needs some down his nose. All right, let's move over to the French Gray 3. Start with this one on the bottom. We're gonna blend into that gray on his head. And just kind of bring it into the white area. Leave it lighter in the middle. I'll put a little of that tawny maybe on his belly. I'll color this in with the light gray. I'll go down his nose a little. I'll come back to you. Let's go down here, this little guy on top of his ear. Gonna get his body. We're blending outward from that gray number 4. I'm gonna color that in. His face, over his ear. I want to touch a little pink on their ears or something. I'm not sure. I'm doing this late at night, and that's when all the trains start doing cargo. Thank goodness it doesn't do that during the day. Let's get over here. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning right now. This is when I can only do my videos without being disturbed. Although, in all fairness, I tend to not go to bed till 2 or after because I have the bad habit. All right, let's get the face here. Get this little guy down here, coloring him in with gray. Now if we put a little of that tawny in a couple of them, not all, then some will look more tan and some will look more gray, so that will make them look different on their own accord. If we wanted to do that. He's got little hair sticking out here. Cutie pants. These are all cute. So then, yeah, let's get the tawny. And I seem to have, I thought I got this one's tail. Let's get their feet with the tawny. Anyway, we'll do that kind of light. First, do their feet and their hands. Okay. All right, so I'm going to put a little tawny, this guy right here in his middle of his body, just a little bit of that in there. I'll blend a little back, a little white or gray over it. Maybe a little, not on this one because he's close to the brown, so dirt, so I want him to look more gray. I might just put it on these two that we already did. This guy here, put a little more, and this one, put a little on his head. And then I'm gonna grab the light gray again, mix this back in with the tawny over it. And then I'm actually just gonna leave these guys gray, I think. Maybe we'll put in a little bit of white. So they do look a little different. Put in a little bit of white on this one. And a little bit of white in the, just in the center. Maybe a little on their faces to blend in that palomino we did earlier if it looks a little too yellow. Let's blend up their faces a little bit. Put a little white on this guy right here. I'm going to go in with a black micron to do some of their little eyes and their mouths. This one I need to put in a little bit of light gray into his ear. Okay, then I want to get the blender and blend it on out. One, blend this one out, number two, just in their belly mostly area where I put that white. And where I mix the gray and the tawny kind of together, we'll make them look a little more tan color, I mean, not suntan. Now, I don't believe I pulled a light pink pencil. I'm going to use, I have here a pink marker. It's an alcohol marker. It's pretty thin paper, but you can use a water-based pen if you have it. I'm just going to touch a little pink right in their ears. This will maybe, yeah, it'll bleed through a little, but I'm just doing a couple of spots. You can use a water-based pen. I just don't want to go fish out mine at the moment. So I already had this sitting here. This is like a baby pink marker. A little brighter than a baby pink. You want to be able to see it over the gray, or like a hot pink pencil. So I want to tap that into their ear. Okay. So I also need, for my ladybug, I have a red chameleon pen I'm going to put right here. Do him. Just use any kind of a red little water-based marker or pit pen or something vibrant, or red pencil on that little ladybug right there, because I had not seen him prior. So I'm going to take a black micron, a couple of different things I'm going to use here. So I have here a black Le Pen, and it's from a set of Le Pens. A really small point, but not quite as fine as a micron, but they're definitely, it's a smaller point than like the Pit Pen. And it allows you to really get like the blackness in their eyes. It's a sturdy, firm tip. The Le Pens, I think they're made more for journaling or something, but I bought them and I love them. So he doesn't have a size of them. They have a little bit of black in their ear. I'm going to put that in right there just to make it look like it shows more. Like right here. Just in that little black ink spot. Okay. And then I'm going to take the micron. One of my microns, I think, is about out. So these microns you can buy individually. This is a 0.45 millimeter. But this works really good. So you see how, like, the eye slit, it's so thin in their little mouth. You want to use only a micron or it'll be too thick. Little mouth. Give them a little smile there. Quick, enhance that line a little bit. Okay. And then I'm going to tap the very tip of the black on their nose. Just a teeny little bit, not do the whole nose or anything, just a teeny little bit. Okay. Oh, this guy needs his little eye done. His mouth and a little bit on his nose. Put little dots. You can add in a few little more dots too if you want to add like a little more. If you want to make their like little hair sticking up, you can use this for that. Put a little more on their head. Like this. Just to make it a little more noticeable. Coming out of their body. Okay. So that's all good. I want to redo his tail. You can't really see it over the brown. I think we're done. We're going to go ahead and do a little something real easy in the background. And we are done. I do want to get a little white pen. I want to get my white Posca. I'll show you why. My white paint pen. To kind of put, so the ones that have their eye open, this one, where we put that black dot, there's also, going to activate it. There should be a little white area that you can't really see now. This is going to be almost too big. I think I can get it though. Barely tap it there. Make the white of their eye a little more visible. Give them almost more like a little bit of a eye white. Very carefully. Okay. So I'm thinking we'll get some, like, this is just like a beautiful autumn sunny day. I think we'll do just some light, a little bit of pan pastel. I'll brush right over that. I'll show you how you do that. Real simple. Gelatos, you know, can be done, but I want something a little more pale and just a little tint of light color. There's really nothing. I often do a lot of accents and sparkles on things. There's really nothing on here to do that with. This is a kind of a very basic picture, something simple, but using these beautiful Star-Joy gold pencils. So I will show you how you can do a really easy background, and we'll do another picture in this book next month. So hold tight. I'm going to pause and go get some background mediums. Okay, so I pulled a couple of pan pastels. Pan pastels come in these flat trays that have a screw top lid. They come kind of stacked because they stack on top of each other. They're kind of chalky. They're super easy for doing backgrounds. They're not the most inexpensive, and you mostly have to buy them in bigger sets if you're getting them on Amazon. I think you can buy individual colors. I'm just taking a baby blue, a very soft yellow, and a white. You can use any kind of blue, any color you have, or get a color. If you don't have these, you can use a very light pale blue pencil and just put in a little bit in the background. You could use a really light gelato, put it on dry with a dry brush. But I just want to kind of show you how to do a basic pan pastel. And so you get these little brushes. They come like this, and they have these tips that you just kind of slide on like putting on a sock. I'll do a separate one for the blue and then a separate one for the yellow and the white last. And you can sometimes use like a makeup applicator to get like little tiny areas. So it's really pretty simple. Can be a little tricky to not get your, you know, stuff on other things here, but you can rub it off pretty well, like with a little bit of a damp Q-tip or a towel. So what you do is you just kind of rub it on here. It's really soft. It's kind of powdery like makeup. You see it's on my thing now. And you really just get in, no, Leo, and you start swirling it in. I'm going to blend a little of the white and the yellow in. I'm going to go kind of around like these words. I'm going to kind of go all around the words. You can just kind of put it in. It's real easy. It's the easiest background you could probably do. Gelatos even take a little more time. It's a little trickier though. You want to really be careful not to get anything on the areas you've colored. And then you do generally want to spray a fixative on this, so when you close the book it doesn't get on the other side, kind of chalky. I use a Krylon or the Winsor Newton spray aerosol fixative, and you got to do it outdoors, away from your front door. Let it sit out for a couple hours, open and dry. The smell will dissipate. And don't breathe it in. I just kind of hold my breath, spray, and then I run into the house and I let it sit on my front chair on my front porch for a little while. So I'm just kind of tapping that into the open spaces here. So it's pale, it's almost pastel. I think you can probably see it. But it's like a very soft pastel, and right now it looks kind of billowy, like, you know, because you can see some of the good amount of the white paper through it. And you know, it's not meant to cover every little area. You're just kind of blending in with the white being part of your background, basically. So I'm going to get that yellow. So, you know, you do have to wash these to get everything off, but I'm going to pull it off. I'm going to put on another one to put the yellow on. Okay. Which is really just this is like a butter yellow. It's not even a bright yellow. It's a really pastel yellow. And the yellow, I'm going to just kind of weave in where I had. I'm just going to kind of overlap it. Going to go around these words. Just to work it a little, and then I put the white in, which will soften things up a little after. Gonna kind of go around here. Gonna put in a little here, weaving it around this blue. It actually looks a little brighter on paper than I thought. It's such a pastel yellow. Surprise, actually. It's a little much more vibrant than it looks. I can put a little more blue back in around it. We will put it in. So kind of make it just look like a billowy white sky with some blue and, you know, some yellow sun rays here and there peeking through. The white that you can see through the paper almost looks like, you know, clouds or sky or whatever. I start to point it like this when I want to go between things without getting it on something. All right. I just want to make sure I get a little yellow in each spot. I don't really have any down here, right here, kind of between, a little between everything. Right there, maybe a little bit. So I'm going to switch back to the blue one, put a little more blue in, and then I'll switch back to the yellow and I'll flip it over. Or you can flip this one over to the other side. You can flip it over and to the side that's not used and put a different color on. So I want to put in a little bit more blue. So I'll put it in, you know, now that we have the yellow, you can kind of mix this together. And then the white kind of comes in as the rescuer and softens everything up. So you just kind of dab it, you know, like you're weaving it in, kind of like you do with the pencils, you know, you keep working it until you get a nice blend. Okay. When I get the white is when I'm going to kind of rub it in fully with my flat side to try to mix some colors, but I'm just trying to apply it really right now and get it in these little areas and these little nooks. Blue here and there. Simple pan pastel background. Put a little bit here around these words. Okay. All right, so then I'm going to switch back to the yellow one, but I'm going to turn it over so I can do white on this side. Okay, then I'm going to rub this into the white. And this is where I'm going to start doing this really flat, right? With the white, I'm going to use my flat brush. And this is going to start covering almost all the area and kind of softening everything, blending it together. Just like a white pencil would do. It functions as the nice little soft blender. All right, and get all the way down by these mice. Rubbing out some of that blue a little. It's very subtle. I don't even know how much of this color you can see. I'll show you up close in a minute. I will link, as always, in this video, everything I'm using. I do use all these products over and over, you know, different pictures. So if you were to buy, for example, some pan pastels, not only will you use them again in the tutorials and the color alongs, you'll probably use them in your own coloring as well. So don't feel like if you buy it, it's just for this book. But you can just leave your background white. I use a very pale yellow and pencil and just put in a little color in the middle here if you want, or watercolor pencil, but you have to be very light on water. This paper is really thin. It's not meant to handle much water. Still dabbing in more white. Wasn't a lot down here, I've noticed. A little more white down here. And careful you don't get any on your fruit, or if you do, just you can kind of lick the tip of your finger and it comes off with a wet, you know, your finger or whatever. I'm gonna dab in a little blue right there and a little white. Hey buddy, I know, he wants me to feed him. That's why he's being such a pest. Every time I get on video, it's like, look at me, feed me, give me attention. Yes, I know. I fed you like 5 times today. I'm gonna kind of go up this spine. I do feel like I went over the Happy Harvesters words. Didn't really mean to, which means I do think that I want to go over that with a black pen. A little bit, maybe. I'm putting a little more blue here. It does dull out. It's kind of like chalk. It'll dull out if you go over a color. That's why you only put it on white backgrounds. And you definitely want to spray your fixative. Now, in these little tight areas, I'm going to take my little applicator, get this little bit of blue right here. Try to get up in here. That way I won't get any on the foliage. Foliage? Shrubbery? Oh, goodness. Yeah, I definitely want like an eye makeup applicator, like old-fashioned kind, for these little tight areas. And you can kind of rub this in to put like a little glow around them, you know, like just around them to kind of highlight them a little blue glow there, little blue glow right here. And get up in these areas. You can put in a little yellow too. I'm just doing blue because I feel like it stands out a little more in these areas. I didn't use pan pastels for the first many years I was coloring. I don't even know if they were a thing back then, to be honest. 2017, 2018, 2019. I don't think I started until 2021 using pan pastels, if I recall. All right, I need to just get a teeny bit more right there, right here. Maybe a little bit down here between like the grass blades. You want your background to go all the way down. All right. So then you can take the one that had the brush on it, do like a final brush over everything. Blend it all in nice. You can even ever do this with one color. I always have at least a white, but one color with a white or whatever. I think that looks great. All right, I don't really see a little bit of chalk on here. On here. I don't really see like I got much on anything. Maybe a little on their tail, but you can't see as much. Right on that leaf. Okay, so then I'll get a little closer. Can you see? You probably can still barely make it out. In person, you can definitely see it, but it's very subtle, like a very subtle kind of a yellow and blue, fluffy white cloud gradient. With my blinding overhead lights, it kind of washes them out, I think. I'm gonna take my black lip pen to go over those words, the Happy Harvester, just because I feel like I got the pan pastel on them, which is risky because it never looks as good or straight. Actually, I think my Pitt Artist pen, this is too thin. So the black Pitt Artist pen, we're gonna try that. Yes, that's better. Plus, this will make it more bold than the printing ink. Okay. During the day tomorrow, I'm going to take this outside and fixative spray it. And then let it air out and dry so this pan pastel doesn't get chalk on my fingers every time I touch it or when I close the book or whatever. All right, we're going to go down, up. This will help those words stand out anyway. Perfect. Pitt Pen, Happy Harvesters. So please feel free to share this in the Facebook group. Hopefully you're in my Facebook group, the Coloring Oasis Adult Coloring Community. We share any work we do in that group. Especially if you're doing any of these tutorials, I'd love to see it. If you have any questions, please let me know. I hope you enjoyed these Star Gold tutorials. We will do more pages in this book. There's a winter version one and a regular version one. This is the one I've seen the least ever shown. The winter version one was just so much snow in there, and it makes it more time consuming. I like the fall autumn ones the best because of all the foliage involved, and I love nature and nature tones and botanicals and things of that nature. Okay, so I got the Happy Harvesters done. So really that's all we need to do. We are all done with our sweet little mice. I'll photograph this. I'll attach it as a JPEG to the bottom of the Patreon posting. You can open it, print it out to pull all your colors. I will write down that I use pan pastels. The colors are on the back, so I have turquoise tint and dairy-eyed yellow tint. And I can even link these brushes. Okay, see you everybody in the next video.